Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Nisi Golden. If you're new here, welcome. So as you can probably tell by the title, today's video is all about a beginner friendly, very detailed makeup tutorial. So if you're interested in seeing how I got this look, stay tuned for the rest of the video. Okay, so I've applied my eyebrow products and now I'm gonna go in with my skin prep. So this is the Ultra Repair Cream from First Aid Beauty. Like, we're in the winter months, so I need all the moisture I can get. That was too much. That was way too much. Yeah, I need all the moisture I can get. So I'm gonna apply my moisturizer, and my skin get extra dry in the winter time, which is why I like to use a very rich cream before I apply my primer or any other makeup products. So I'm just gonna apply my moisturizer, and I am going to wait until after I've done my eyeshadow. Then I'm gonna go in with my primer and my base products. I like to do my eyeshadow before I do like my foundation and stuff like that, because some of the time it depending on what brand eyeshadow you use, the product can fall out and it can get into your foundation or your concealer, which is just going to make it messy. So I like to do my eyeshadow before I do my base routine. So before I go in with my eyeshadow, I like to prep the base. You can buy an eyeshadow base, but I personally prefer to just use a lighter concealer. So I'm going to be using this one from Hourglass, and this is in the shade Dune. This is a really good concealer. This is the shade I normally use to brighten under my eyes in the inner corners when I want my eyes to have a brighter look underneath it. So yeah, I'm going to go in with a very light concealer. I'm just going to let that sit for a minute before I blend it out. When you let your concealer sit on your eyelids for a while, it gets thicker, which means you're going to have more coverage. So I'm just going to let that dry down for a bit, and then I'm going to come back and we can just blend that out together. So I'm going to be using this brush from the Real Technique. This is their Deluxe Crease Brush. This is number what? This is number 300. It looks like this. Is very dense, and I like to use a dense brush to do this part, because the denser the brush, the more coverage you're gonna get, and I need all the coverage I can get on my lids so that the colors that I'm gonna be using for my eyeshadow pop. So I'm just gonna take my time, lightly tap, and just blend that out. I'm going to be using the Laura Mercier translucent setting powder, and I'm just going to use the same brush and just set the concealer on my eyelids. Okay, so now let's get into the eyeshadow. Today I'm going to be using this palette from Morphe. This is their 35 mi Magic Mirror palettes. And the reason why I'm using this palette is because you have such a wide range of cool and warm tones, but they're all neutral tones. And since this is a beginner makeup routine, I don't want to bum rush you guys with any crazy eye look, so I'm just going to keep it neutral today. So first I'm going to go in with a small brush like this, and I'm going to go in with a color that's close to my skin tone. This is going to be our transition shade. So this is the shade that is going to prevent any harsh lines. So whenever I apply a darker shade and I want to blend the edges out, this is the shade I'm going to use to make sure that there is no harsh line. So I'm going to be going back and forth with this shade and whichever shade I use next. Now this is a beginner's makeup routine, so I'm not going to do anything crazy. I'm not going to be doing any cut crease or anything like that. We're just going to keep it simple and soft. now that I have my transition shade down, I have a small eyelid and a creasy eyelid at that. So when you're starting out, the best thing to do is to start with the smaller the brush, the better. When you use bigger brushes, the product tends to get out of hand, which leads to more mistakes and your eyeshadow looking muddy. So I'm going to be using a small eyeshadow brush. This is from e.l.f. This is called their eye crease brush, and I'm going to be going in with this warm brown shade right here. You can use whatever neutral palette you have. So I'm going in with this warm shade, and I'm just going to be, okay, so I have a creasy eyelid. So right where that crease is, if I apply the shadow under it, the eyeshadow is not going to show. So I'm going to go a little bit over that crease. So open your eyes, look front, and make sure that you mark a little bit over where that crease is, and that is where you're going to be applying your second shade. And just go in with back and forth, don't dig too much, and just map out this the shape of your eyeshadow. Don't go in with too much product. It's better to go in with a little product and you build up as you go along. So just go with a small amount of product and just take your time. It's okay if it's messy, we can clean up after. Like, don't try to be too perfect right now. So I kind of want to wing out if look. So I'm just gonna take my time and just blend that product out. Just go back and forth, tapping motions, circular motions, until I have an even distribution of the product. So I'm going to try my best to not cut this part too much so you guys can see exactly what I am doing. Now, that's it for the first shade. It's not perfect, but this is when we're going to go back with the same brush that I used before, with the same shade that I used before. Not too much, just tap, 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 tap off the excess products. And now I'm going to go back and forth. I'm going to keep half of the brush on the color that I just put down and half where I applied the first color, and this is what's going to blend out the edge so I don't have any harsh lines. So you're just going to continue doing that back and forth movements until you are satisfied with how blended that is. So I'm just using circular motions, just going in between those two shades to make sure that I have a nice gradient effect. And when I'm satisfied with what I'm seeing, I'm satisfied with that. Now you can blend a little bit more, but let's not worry about that too much this first time. So that is it for our first and second shade. As I said, I'm keeping it very simple. Now I want my inner corners to be a little bit darker, just add a little bit more depth. So now I'm going to go in with another small brush, but a different brush. Same brush, but a different one. Because remember, I haven't done the other eye yet, so you don't want to be using too much shade on the one brush. It's going to make everything a little bit more musty and your eyeshadow is going to come out muddy. So just get another clean brush that is just as small as that one, and I'm going to be going in with the shade. I could go in with the shade that's above it, but I think the one in the corner is a little bit darker. So this is the shade I'm going to be going with, and I'm going to be only focusing on the outer corner right here. Just want to add a little bit more depth, a little bit more drama to the eyes, and I'm just gonna focus that in here, just like it's like we're shaping out a triangle. Like, just keep the shape of a triangle in mind. You don't want to spread this product too far. And now with the same brush, I'm not adding any more product. Whatever is on the brush is what I'm gonna use to just wing that out. And I'm using a very light hand. Don't dig into your skin with this. So I'm just gonna continue to focus. You can see I'm creating a wing right here. Yeah, so I am not passing the center of my eye. I'm keeping everything out here. And that's it for your third shade actually. And if you want to blend a little bit more, the brush that you use to apply the color before this one, you're just gonna use this and just go back and forth with these two shades. And one tool that I think is very good to keep on hand is this. I got this off Shein. It's a brush cleaner. When you take the sponge out, you can use this to wash your brushes. But if you're in a pickle and you have dirty brushes and you need them to be clean, especially when you're using powder products, you can just dust them off on the sponge and you're good to go. So if you don't have a lot of eyeshadow brushes but you want to do eyeshadow look with multiple colors, this is very handy. So right now, if I dip this in another shade, the shade before is not going to interfere with the application of the new shade, because I have already dusted off all that shade onto this. And if you don't have that, you can just use a white napkin. You can see it's pretty clean just by using this. It's not very, very clean, but it's not a lot of product on it. So you can just spray some micellar water on this and just clean your brushes, dry it off on a towel if you don't have a lot of brushes and you're just working with 1 or 2 brushes. Just a little tip for y'all. Okay, so now we didn't put anything in here. So you can either go in with a what's the word I'm looking for? A shimmery shade, or you can go in with a matte shade. So this is the Culture 2 palette from Juvia's Place, and for this part, what should we do? Shimmer or no shimmer? I think I'm going to apply this gold shade, but I think for the base I'm gonna go in with this. This shade is called Palm Kennel. So just take any flat fluffy brush that you have, or if not, just clean off one of the brushes that you have before and use it. So I'm just going to go in with this lighter shade right here, dust off the excess. This is a very pigmented palette, like just look at that. And I'm just going to pack that in the center. Wow, see that? And I'm just doing light tapping motions. And as you can see, I am trying to blend it into the other shades, and I'm not dragging it over there because I want this shade to be focused in the inner corners. So this is a very nice palette to have because it's very pigmented and the shades blend so easily. As you can see, I literally don't have to do too much elbow greasing. I don't need too much elbow grease to blend the colors. So I'm satisfied with that. You can leave it like this, add your eyeliner and go about your business, but as I said, I'm gonna do some shimmer. You can either use your fingers to apply your shimmer. If you use your fingers, your shimmers are gonna show up way brighter. Just a pro tip. But I am going to be using a flat brush for this. I feel like I used this brush for something already. So I'm going to be going in with a gold shade. Should we do this one or this one? I think this one. Yeah, very pigmented. And I'm just going to... Here you can use a swiping motion, but don't swipe too hard. So see if I can come up a little bit closer so you guys can see what I'm doing. So I don't know if the shade is showing up on camera, but in real life, this is so gorgeous. So gorgeous. Okay. Now that first brush that we use, you know what? No, because I do not want to transfer the glitter to the other eye. I'm just going to take another fluffy brush that I have and just dust off the glitter where I don't want it. So the glitter kind of got out of hand right here, so I'm just going to dust them off. This is why I do my eyeshadow first, because as you can see, the glitter is already under here, so that will just mess up your entire concealer look. So that's it. Whatever I do on this eye, I'm going to do on the other eye, and then I'll be right back. As you can see, the eyeshadow fell all the way under my under my eyes. So this is why, again, I can't repeat this enough, I do my eyeshadows first. Now for eyeliner, you could use a liquid eyeliner if you want to. I have this is my favorite one from elf. It has a brush applicator like that, but this is a beginner friendly and it can get messy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a regular eyeliner that you can get from the beauty supply store, and I'm just gonna take my, am I close enough? I'm just gonna take my time and just tight line my liner, because I'm going to be applying false eyelashes and I just feel as if it looks way better when there is a liner down first. So I'm just gonna use this and I'm just gonna take my time and tight line my eyeliner on the upper lid. And normally if I was using the liquid liner, I would just use that to create the wing, but in this case we're using a pencil. It's just not going to be the same. So I'm going to be using a flat angled brush to just smudge out the black liner to create a little wing. Okay, so just use a small flat brush like this that has an angle and just smudge that out. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing for the other eye. I'm going to clean up underneath my eyes and then we can get into our base routine. So recently I haven't been using any primer. I've just been using like my moisturizer, because as I said, it's in the colder months. When I'm in the warmer months, I do like to use a primer, so I just use my moisturizer. But if you want to use a primer, you can use the elf Power Grip, or this is the one I have on hand right now, and this is the elf Poreless Putty Primer. As I said, once my face is washed, it's clean, it's moisturized, I don't think I need a primer, so I'm just gonna skip that step today. Now I'm going full beat. Beginner is full beat. So this is not, I don't think this is soft glam. I don't think this is soft glam because I did the glitter. I don't think this is soft glam. So I'm going full beat today. So which means foundation is involved and I want full coverage. So I'm going to be using the NARS, and this is their soft matte, and this is in the shade Macao. This is my shade. I'm using the shade Macao. I'm just going to apply it on a flat surface, and I'm going to be using my Real Techniques beauty blender to apply my makeup. I think it's better to use a sponge when you're a beginner because you control it more rather than a brush. So we're going to be using a beauty blender today. Stay tuned for other makeup tutorials when you see me use a brush, but today we're using a sponge. So this is the amount of foundation I'll be using. This is my beauty. I did damp my beauty blender, damp it and squeeze out all the excess water. Starts with a little bit amount of product, and then if you need more you add. It's better for you to go in with a little product, and if you need more you add, than for you to go in with too much products and then you have difficulty removing it. So I'm just gonna put a little bit. I'm not gonna use everything on my beauty blender, and I'm just gonna use light tapping motions to apply that. And this is my favorite beauty blender, and this is from the Real Technique. So I'm just gonna take my time and use light tapping motions. This foundation, I know it's showing up like it's a little bit too light, but it's not. It's gonna dry down, and when it dries down to its true shade. So don't be too alarmed if when you're applying it it looks a little bit lighter. This formula specifically dries down to its true shade. So when I go under my eyes, I don't like to be heavy with foundation because I'm going to be applying concealer anyways, and when you apply too much product under your eyes, that causes creasing, and we do not want that. So I'm just going to use my light tapping motions And when I am satisfied with what I see, the amount of product I added on here was more than enough. I'm just gonna go and do my forehead now. And if you don't have a lot of hyperpigmentation on your forehead, you don't have to apply more product to the sponge. You can just use whatever is left over on the brush and apply it to your forehead. I just love this formula. I know a lot of people in my daily life that tells me that they don't like it, but I'm like, I love it. I don't know. It's enough coverage for me, and I just love the way how it dries down. So yeah, this is what we're working with right now. I know under my eyes is a little bit darker right now. As I said, I don't like to apply a lot of product under there, and I did not go full coverage. This is a full coverage foundation, but I don't know, I just like when a little bit of my beauty marks are showing through. It just makes my skin look more like skin. So when it comes down to my foundation, I like to go light with it, whether it's full coverage or not, because we're going to be applying concealer, bronzer, or powdered products. So I just feel as if the reason why a lot of people's makeup comes out a little bit blotchy and heavy and it looks like a mask is because you're applying too much product, which is why I always recommend for beginners to use a sponge, because the sponge kind of take away that excess, whereas a brush you're just painting it on. So until you get a hang of the amount of foundation that you think your face needs for the look you're going for, practice with the sponge, and when you feel more comfortable, you will can transition to a brush where you can know, okay, this is too much, this is the amount I need, this is the look that I'm going for. Okay, so I am happy with what I have right now. So now I'm gonna transition into concealer. I am not going to be blending out my concealer right now. I'm just going to be placing my concealer. So I am just going beginner friendly for you guys. So this is the LA Girls Pro Concealer that you can get from the beauty supply store. I have Fenty Beauty, I have Hourglass, but this is what I'm using just to show you guys that you can get a good concealed look on a budget. So I'm going to be using two shades here. This is Fawn. This is my OG from I was in high school, from I was in college in Jamaica. So for the outer part of my eyes, I'm going to be doing Fawn. And I want a bright under eye. So I'm going to be using a lighter shade for the inner corner. But first, let's just blend Fawn, and then we can work on our lighter shade after. So I like to apply my concealer under my eyes, under my chin, just for a little bit of balancing, and the center of my nose, and right in my T-zone area. Now I'm not going to be blending this. I'm going to let this dry down, because when your concealer dries down, it gets thicker, which leads to more coverage. Now I'm going into sculpting. I'm going to be contouring my face, and I'm going to be using the LYS bronzing stick. I love this so much, and this is in the shade No Limit Strength. Now the placement of this product is very important because all of our faces are different. I like a little bit chiseled but lifted cheekbone, so I'm just going to be going under here. So my face naturally has a shadow there, so you can just look at yourself in the mirror and you can see where you need to apply your bronzer. So I'm just going to be applying mine here, and this formula is so creamy and it blends so well. So yeah, this is where I am applying that, and then I'm going to also do my forehead. I have a huge forehead, so I like to just go all the way around there. You can apply a little bit here just to snatch your chin if you have a double chin. You don't have to do that. It's just my personal preference. So You don't need to let this dry down. As I said, it's a creamy product and you want the product to be blendable. Now, when you're working with your contour stick or your bronzer stick, you need a dense brush for this. You can use your sponge. I can show you. You can just, I'm going to use a side and I'm just going to blend that in. As you can see, it blends in so easily and nicely. But I prefer to do my bronzer or my contour with a brush. I'm going to be using the Real Techniques brush in the number 200. I usually use this to apply my foundation sometimes too, but I find that it works perfectly for my contour as well. So I just turn this into my contour brush. And I'm just using light sweeping tapping motion to my forehead and into my hairline. And as you can see, it blends like butter. You don't need a lot of elbow grease for this. So just continue to blend, blend, blend. Now when you reach to the cheekbones, you want to blend up and not down. Up and not down. And don't worry if you go too high, you haven't blended your concealer yet. So that is just going to correct everything. So I'm just going to do one side on camera for you guys to see. So just blend until you're satisfied with the shadow that you're seeing. You don't want a harsh line between your contour and here. So just blend, blend, blend. You can do your chins like this. Now it looks a little bit crazy right now, but we haven't applied our blush yet. We haven't blended out our concealer yet or none of that stuff. And just under here to give my face a little bit more snatching. Okay, so I'm gonna blend out the rest of this. And the thing is, when you're a beginner, guys, don't rush it. Just do practice on a day that you have nowhere to go, you know. So you're gonna need to spend a lot more time learning how to blend properly than what hot product you should be using. So just focus on blending. So don't rush it. I'm gonna do the other side off camera and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've blended out my contour. Don't worry about it. You gotta trust the process now. So for my concealer, I'm gonna be using the Real Techniques brush in number 402. Yeah, we are a Real Technique brush family over here. I love their brushes. So start with the chin. I always start with the chin, just my personal preference. And the thing with when you're blending your concealer is you want to focus on around the concealer so that you have a nice blended look, right? I'm gonna explain that a little bit more when I get under my eyes. So the whole part of concealer is to conceal. It's like, and here right now we're highlighting, so we want the product to show out. We don't want the product to disappear. So wherever you place the product, that's where you want the product to stay, which means no dragging, no tapping too hard, just light tapping motions. I may be going fast, but I'm using light tapping motions in real life. And blend that out. Now for my nose, because my nose is so tiny, I like to use this brush. This was the one I used on my eyelids. This is number 300. A little bit more dense, a little bit more smaller. And I'm just going to be focused on my nose, the center of my nose, the bridge of my nose. So I'm keeping the product there. I'm not dragging to the sides, because I want the product to stay on the bridge of my nose. Looks like it disappeared on camera, but it's there. I think you guys can see it. Now under my eyes, we're gonna go back to the same brush that we were using before. And as I said, you want to focus on blending the edges so you have a nice gradient. It blends perfectly into your bronzer. It blends perfectly into your foundation. So just focus on diffusing the edges, and then you work your way up towards your eyes. Okay, get a little bit closer so you guys can see. Now the closer I get to my eyes, the lighter I am tapping, because I want the product to stay there. I don't want it to blend out. With light tapping motions, and I like to bring mine out to kind of like snatch my eye. So you see how cute my eyeshadow looks now? I'm just gonna bring my concealer up there and just take my time and tap 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 so the edges just diffuse nicely. See the difference between this one and this one? Okay, so just blend 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 until you're satisfied. So blended our first concealer shade. Now I'm gonna go in with this shade Dune from Hourglass, the same one I put on my lids for my eyeshadow. And listen, you don't need a lot because we're just highlighting the inner corners under our eyes. So I'm gonna put the product here. That's it. Okay. Toops there, toops there. And now we blend with the same brush that we used for the first shade. Now here's the rule when it comes down to blending your under eye so you don't get out of control with the product, is to look front. You see the center of your eyes? You're not gonna pass there. So I'm gonna focus the product in here, and you're not gonna pass the center of your eyes. Light tapping motions. You see how brighter under my eyes look? Yeah. Just for demonstration purposes, I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna focus in the inner corners, look up, light tapping motions, and I am not bringing it all the way out here. I'm focusing the product right in here. See, now my eyes just look brighter, I look more alive. Okay, so now we are gonna get into our powdered products. See, the light went out at the same time, at the right time. Do you think I should stay with just one light? Because I think with the dim light, you guys are seeing, you guys are seeing more. I kind of like the lighting now. Should I stay with this or should I turn the other light on? I don't know. Next time, this is the light we're going to be filming with. But we already started with 2 panel lights, so we're going to continue with 2 panel lights. I forgot to apply my blush. So I love my blush. And even though I'm going to be applying powder blush, I like to go in with a cream blush first. So this is the Rare Beauty blush in the shade Joy. It's a peachy blush. So I'm just going to do... Normally I apply this when I apply my bronzer, and so my concealer can blend into it. So I'm just going to be using 1 dot today because I forgot to do it. Right, I'm going to use the size of my sponge, and I'm just going to be blending that out. Look like it disappeared. No, it's there. It's just not a lot. I'm just going to blend that in. I think we can use a little bit more. Yeah. I like to bring my blush up under my eyes. You don't have to do this. This is just where I like to place mine. So I'm just gonna use my sponge, light tapping motions, and just blend that in. Blend, blend, blend. Looking cute. Do the same thing for the other side. Yeah, I like this. I don't like to bring it too much here because that's when I tends to look like a clown. Like some people it looks cute on their cheekbones, but for me, no, looks better higher. So now that we have that, I am going to start setting now. So I'm going to be using the One Size setting powder, and this is in the shade Sweet Honey. So I'm gonna pour some of the powder in the cap so I have more control. For application, I'm going to be using a powder puff. I got mine on Amazon. So this is the thing with the setting powder. Don't be afraid of using the setting powder, but at the same time don't use too much. So I have it here. I have the brush. I'm gonna, not the brush, the puff. I'm gonna load up the puff. Yes, load up the puff, and then I'm gonna scrape the excess off. So it's still there, but I scrape the excess off. So this is what we're working with. And now is when you want to be gentle, but you want to still put that thing on. So you can look up so you open your creases. I like to blend out my creases a little bit more before I apply, and then gonna press that in. Press it in. Don't drag now, just press. And yes, I'm putting it over my blush. I'll press that in. You see the difference between this eye and this one? Ooh. Let's press that in. Can apply some more, do the same thing, scrape off the excess and just press it in. Now I'm gonna do the same thing. I don't like to bake. If you want to bake, you can, but I personally don't like it. I'm gonna be doing the same thing for everywhere where I applied my concealer. So I'm gonna be doing it on my nose, on my chin, and on my forehead. But I'm just gonna be taking my time and just pressing until I'm satisfied, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've applied my powder everywhere where I applied my concealer. So my T-zone, just applying a little bit more. Okay, now I did put some here, so I like to do this. It's like it's like reverse contouring, but instead of using my concealer, I'm going in with my powder. So I'm just gonna go under the bronzer. You see how everything is coming together? See how the bronzer looked like it was too much? Now I'm going in with my powder, and I'm going in under here. It's like just a little bit of a reverse contour moment we're having right now. So everything is just gonna look snatched and sculpted. Just press that in. And don't worry, I know it looks like it's too bright, but don't worry. Now we're gonna go in with a fluffy brush, and I'm gonna sweep away any excess powder that I have under my eyes so I don't look dusty. We don't want to look dusty. We want to look powdered. We want to look matted. We want to look set, but we don't want to look dusty. Okay, now I'm gonna use light motions to blend it right here so it doesn't look too harsh. Nice. Okay, so we have set everywhere where we have applied concealer or highlight. Now as you can see, if I go like this, right here is shiny. My bronzing area, shiny. Anywhere where I did not apply highlights is shiny. We don't want that. You don't want here to be matted and look nice and cool, and the rest of your your face will be giving grease ball. No, that's not what we're going for. So for this part, you can either use a foundation powder, or my favorite thing to do is to use the Sephora Micro Smooth powder. This is a very fine powder, even though it's a pressed powder, and I'm gonna use this to apply our set everywhere else where I did not apply a highlighter. So I'm just gonna go in with a fluffy brush This one is from Elf. This is their pointed powder brush, and I'm just gonna get the product off, tap off the excess, and I'm gonna set everywhere where I did not apply my setting powder before. So we're just gonna be using this to set the rest of our face. And another thing I like to use this powder to do is anywhere where you have a harsh line or anywhere where you find it's too bright, you can use it because you're going to get this in the shade of your skin tone. My shade is number 60 Ebony. Yeah, that's my shade. So I'm just and I normally put it where my bronzer is, even though I'm also going to go in with powder bronzer, but I just find that this sets my bronzer better than my actual powder bronzer. It sets my contour better than my actual bronzer. That's what I meant to say. And if you get a little bit too out of hand with your concealer or your highlights and you find that under your eyes are a little bit too bright, you can also use this to fix it. So I'm just gonna be sitting here and use this to like just set my entire face, and then we can move on to bronzing and sculpting our nose. You see that we skip a step. We did, oh my gosh, we skipped a step. We did not use our cream contour on our nose, but it's okay because we're gonna use our powdered bronzer to fix all that. So just take your time. As I said, don't rush. Just take my time and just sit here and just set everywhere where I think needs to be set with this powder. And then when I'm going into my powder bronzer and sculpting my nose, I'll be right back. I'm going to be going in with the Fenty Beauty and this is in the shade Mocha Mommy. As you can see, it's warm. This is meant to warm up the face, you know. So now everything is really going to start coming together. I like to use a fluffy angled brush for this part, but you can just use any powder brush that you have. And dust off the excess, and I'm just gonna apply that everywhere where I did my cream contour, just to warm up the face a little bit, warm up the cheeks. Okay, now for the nose. Okay, so this is the brush I like to use. So you can see it's a little bit angled, but it's also kind of flat and fluffy at the same time. I'm going to go in with my bronzer, always dust off the excess, and I'm going to be trying to snatch my nose. So you see the socket that I have right here in my eye, that is where I'm starting from. I'm starting from close to my eyebrows and bringing it down so everything just looks come together, you know, and just look like it belongs. So I'm just creating a shadow. You see the difference between here and here? And as you can see, I'm bringing it up here, and it's as if I'm blending it into my eyeshadow. So it's like everything, it goes right back down to my eyeshadow shade. And as I said, whatever you're doing, use a light hand, and if you need more product, you can add more product, but you don't want to go in with too much, and then you're gonna be in big trouble. So same thing again, just down my nose, bring it up into the socket, so it's like everything just comes together. Ooh. Okay, so now for blush. My favorite part, powdered blush. I have two options to show you guys. This is the Ruby Kisses that I get from the beauty supply store. Can you believe my favorite blush is from the beauty supply store? I love this because they're all peach shades, but this one has a little bit of shimmer in it, and this one is like a highlighter, so it's like I get everything in one spot. And I also love this one from the Sephora collection. It is also peachy as well. I love this one also, but because this one has the highlighter and everything and is a little bit more pigmented in my opinion, I always go for this one. So I just dip it in all three, like, and just dust it off a fluffy brush, and I'm gonna apply it where I like to apply mine. Now you could keep it here, but I like to bring mine up into my brow bone. So just apply some more into my brow bone. Oh, it looks so cute. So anything you do on one side, you do on the other. So just up in my brow bone right here, back down to my cheeks, a little bit on my nose, and there we go. So now I am going to be applying my, what's that called? Mascara. So my mascara, because because I know that my foundation touches my lashes, so you just want to coat your natural lashes in mascara before you apply your false lashes, so everything just blends together. Now everybody has their own way of applying their lashes, so I'm gonna do that off camera, and I'll be right back with the finishing touches. Okay, so my wig is sliding back, but we move. So now I'm going to, so I did apply my lashes. Now I'm going to tight line my waterline with a black eyeliner. It's just gonna bring out my eyes. You don't have to do this. There are other ways you can, you know, bring your eye look together without using a black eyeliner, but that is going to be in like my upcoming makeup tutorials, because right now all you need is a black eyeliner. I don't want to make it too complicated for y'all. Listen, I tried to sharpen this, but the sharpener was just not giving, so yeah, just gonna take my time. Make sure. Oh, I don't like that. It's not neat. Okay, it's okay. We'll fix it. I wanted it to be very thin, but because I made a little mistake, as you can see before, now I'm gonna have to make it thicker so that everything matches. Like, that's annoying. Yeah. I had to bring it up all the way in here. Whew, it's not neat. You see, it's not neat. It's not neat. I don't like that. So I think I'm gonna have to come a little bit lower. Ah! I do not like that. It's ugly. Let's do the other eye. Okay, so tight line. This is how I wanted this one to look. You see how thin this is? But this is the thing I tell you, start with little and add, because I can't take that away now. Well, I could, but that's too complicated. I don't want to get you guys I don't want you guys to get your panties in a bunch. So I am going to make this one thicker to match this one, because I can't take away from that now. I am so mad. I wanted it to be so thin. Anyways, I'm going to try and make both eyes match, and I'll be right back. Okay, so listen, we're gonna just have to work with what we have with the eyeliner. So now we're on to the lips. I'm gonna be using my Huda Beauty lip pencil in this shade Rich Brown, and I'm gonna be lining my lips, kind of overline it a little bit, not too much. So the thing with when you're overlining is you want to overline up here, but when you come down to the corner of your mouth, you want to go back in the line. You don't want to go over it, because then your mouth is going to look wide. So this is what I mean. So this is the line, and you can see that my liner is a little bit above it on this side. But when I'm coming down to the corner of my mouth, I bring it back in. I don't go over, because then you're just going to be looking like, yeah, you don't want to look like that. So just follow your overline at the top and just fall back in as you come down to the corners. I don't overline the bottom, I just stay within my natural lip line. And now for my lipstick, I'm going to be using Rare Beauty lipstick, and this is in the shade Fun. This lipstick, it just always creeps me out. Anyways, it's like a peachy nude shade, and I'm gonna apply that to the center. Yeah, that's the shade. So it goes in with my blush, and yeah, smudge that together. I could go, normally I would use another color on top, but it's a beginner routine. Keep it simple. Yeah, they're both matching. Like that. Like that a lot. I don't know, the lip is not, looks better now. Yeah, looks better now. Now for my gloss, I'm just going to be using this CoverGirl gloss. This is their Clean Fresh Yummy gloss, and this is Coconuts About You. And I'm just going to go over it. I can shine. Ooh. I like it a lot. So yeah. Now for setting spray, I'm always gonna recommend the Charlotte Tilbury setting spray. I ran out. It's my only little concussion in here that I made up. So just spray, 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 and just let everything just melt together. So if you were looking dusty before, you're not gonna be looking dusty no more. Now I'm gonna fix my hair off camera, and I'll be right back for the last time. I'm not gonna leave you after this. Okay. It's giving poison ivy, especially with the green plant behind me giving nature. Anyways, let's focus. So yeah, my makeup routine is done. This is the finished look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I have a lot more videos coming. I have some more makeup tutorials coming, makeup tips, skincare tips for the winter, and also some more personalized content so my audience can get to know me better, a little bit more. Not too much, but a little bit more. Yeah. So I really do hope you guys enjoyed this video and you learned something. Comment down below any questions you may have, any suggestions you may have. I had so much fun creating this. Like, this is my element. Like, I feel like doing my makeup on camera is, I know I do a lot of wig content on TikTok. Follow me there too. Everything Nisi Golden. Follow me on TikTok, Nisi Golden. Instagram, especially Instagram, Nisi Golden. I do a lot of hair content there, but to be honest, I always feel my best when I'm doing makeup. Don't eat me up. Yeah, so I really do hope you guys enjoy this. Don't forget to like, share it to your friends, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.